Hey David, this is Donnie. Okay, here's part two of how to blog on your site. The first step we obviously went through and kind of the setup and kind of an overview of what you're having on your WordPress dashboard. This last part hopefully won't take as long. You'll have to excuse my voice. What we've got now is we have all of our content, our text typed in, and you can see that it's typed in here. And so anytime it's underlined in red, that's a spell check. So if you ever wanted to spell check, I've gone on and spell checked everything in advance. Sometimes it doesn't like words like survivorship, but so just make sure that that's good. So now we're really just looking at formatting. So what I try to do from time to time is kind of see a couple things. How did we format it last time? And what we look at. Okay, one of the first things I want to do is in this particular one, and this is going to show you how to use the linking tool when you want to link text to somewhere else. So this is going to be important if you ever want to, if you wanted to say, for instance, um, on my site under estate planning, you can find information. So you want to link somewhere in your blog post to somewhere else on your site, or maybe you wanted to link to a CNN.com article or to the Wealth Council article on their site or something to that effect. What you do is you highlight the text you want. And so in this case, you say in my previous blog post, I discussed the first three steps. So what we want to do is tell people, hey, there was a previous one, and link that just in case they missed it. Maybe they happened upon this in their Google search and they landed on part two of two, so we want to get them to the first one. So you highlight your text. Now you can make it bold. Before we did not make it bold, so I think we'll leave that alone. And then what we do is when you insert the hyperlink, it's going to, what I did there was click. You can see when I take the highlight off, those go into an inactive status. But when I highlight them and let go, you can see that they become active. This is where you want to insert your link or edit the one that you've already got in there. And if there's ever a time that you decide, I really don't want that text linked, all you have to do is highlight that text and click that to unlink it. You'll use this one probably a lot more than you will use this one. So what we have to do is figure out what is the URL of the link, the final destination we want to go to. So this is what you'll do is you'll go up here to your browser to find this at any time. If you're on CNN.com, obviously, this is where you'll find the URL. It's pretty simple, but I want to make sure you knew that. So if we highlight what we want to, and we can highlight this whole paragraph, or we could just highlight the word, post or previous post. I'm going to go ahead and highlight the entire sentence. So we stop there. Now, at this point, I'm going to go back to our blog. Now, if I just highlighted this part, we link people over to the blog. The problem is, let's say they find this a month from now, and they go to your blog, and you're blogging about something else in the month of April, and they want to find part two of two. So keep in mind, every time you write a blog, it's its own unique page. It has its own unique URL. And how you go about finding that is you'll see here as I hover over the title. When I do that, it automatically goes directly to, and you'll see here, this is now the URL of that specific blog post. So this is a new page, in essence, on the internet that Google could find. So this becomes the unique URL for this blog post. So this could be 10 years from now. If I wanted to go directly to this blog post, this is the URL I would use, not just meredith-law.com/blog. So when I get up here, I want to copy that. Now I want to go back to my section here, click my little insert link. Now it always kind of defaults to this, so I don't need that because I've already copied all of that. And I'm going to paste in. It's all the way to the end, but if you just move your mouse over, or you can move your arrow keys over, however you want to, but you'll see that it's already got it has to have the http://www, which seems very antiquated and very 1980, but you must have this because it is still the formal URL address for this site. Now here, if you wanted this to open up in a new window, you could click this. You could open it up in the same window, or if it doesn't do anything, it's always going to open up in the same window. Now what that means is it's not going to open up in, let's say for instance on your site, if I want to talk about probate, notice that it stays within the same window. This does not change any at all. So if I go back to this, now I'm going to cheat it a little bit here, but let's say this was set up to open up in a new window. It would open up, and here in just a second, there's a new thing that opens up and all that. Now, let's say that you wanted them to go to this site, and let's say that this is CNN.com. After they're done, they're going to close out of that. What do you want them to be? You want them to be back on your site. So here's our rule of thumb. We use either not set or same window. Anytime the address is going to be on your site. So if it's going to another page on your site, you'll always want it to stay in the same window or use not set. Either one of those will get to where it stays within your page. The only times that you want to select a new window are, one, if you're sending them to an external site, wealthcouncil.com, cnn.com, acu.edu, wherever. There you want them to open up in a new window, because when they're done with that content and they close out of that window, you want to remain back in your window then still remains open. The other thing that you'll do, and we'll get to this in another tutorial, is if you ever want to insert a PDF document where somebody opens up a PDF document. There, if a document is to open up, you want that to open up in a new window for the simple fact that when they're done with that PDF, they'll typically always close it. Well, if they close it and it's in the same window, then your page goes away. And now they have to go back to find meredith-law.com. So the rule of thumb is, with a PDF or an external website, you always want that to open in a new window. Everything else defaults to the same window or this not set. So I'm going to select same window and insert. You don't have to do anything here or here. And insert. So we've formatted one thing already. And if you wanted to, you could see to see a discussion, please refer to the previous post. You could do that again here, but I'm going to leave that alone since we kind of made that link here. So you've got your information here, and I believe this is pretty much simple, all text. Now, when you're dealing with, you can't really do a lot of different paragraphs and formatting in a way. The only thing that you can do, like you've got here, I'll bring this down a little bit. You have a photo in here. Now, I had a hard time getting this photo out of my Word document, so I just went and found the same image you found on Google. So I've got that. So let's talk about how to insert a photo into your blog right about the same place that you've got this. So this is, it's a little tricky because it's not, you can't say I want it to go exactly here, and you can't move it around like you could. You've got some limitations, but let's just say that we want to, you've got that kind of, somewhere up in this area here. So we'll look to say, let's kind of keep it right around here. Let's insert the post right there, or insert the photo. Now, at this point, we'll come up here to these little icons. There are 4 icons. You can add an image, you can add a video, you can add audio, or add media, which a media is a combination of all these three things. This is somewhat of your catch-all one. So I tend to gravitate always to this one, so I don't have to ever decide which one I'm going to use. And so at this point, if you clicked on that and you put your cursor where you want it, it'll open up a little window here. And this is where you want to add the file from your computer. Let's say you go to Google Images, you save this document, and you put it, insert that, put it on your desktop or put it in a file. This is where you want to go find that. Now, I have gone ahead and put this in the media library just for the sake of this tutorial. So it should be in there, because anytime you insert a picture automatically into your blog. It automatically puts it into your media library. Now I went ahead and added this. It's running a little slower. It usually runs a lot faster than that. Oh, you know what I did? I didn't bear with me. I thought I did, and then I decided not to do it because while I was doing it, I forgot I was not doing the tutorial. So this is what I've got. I've got it set up on my desktop under Happy Customers. That's the photo. Now this title here, this is the image, 570 pixels wide by 576. Pretty good sized image. We'll talk about how to reformat that here in a minute. Your Happy Customers is just the name of the file. I typically will delete that off. There is some thought of putting a catchy phrase over that or something. There's a lot of, what you do with that is not critical. There are some thoughts on that. We'll talk about it another time if we need to. This link URL, because this is just a photo, we really don't want this photo to link anywhere. So we're going to say none. Now the alignment, the question is, do we want this smiley face to be right in the center of the screen and the text underneath it? Do we want it to be on the left? Do we want it to be on the right? Well, let's play around with that. Let's start with it being on the left. This is where you can kind of see an example here where the text will somewhat wrap around the image. Same thing over here. It's just right justified, or you can center it where you have the image and the text slides underneath it. You can always change this later, but let's start with it going here. Now, right now it's 576 by 576. I know that's pretty large, but I'm going to show you. It gives you an example of saying, hey, we can shrink that down automatically for you. We don't want to do thumbnails of that right now. So let's start with this, and I'm going to show you what we can do to change that here in a minute. So at this point, we want to insert into post. Now you can see really how big that photo is. Okay, that's obviously way too big for what we want. So at this point, if you click on this, sometimes you have to click it. There we go. You'll have these two icons here. If you want to edit the image, this is where you could go up here to advanced settings and change the size here. If you want to do 50% of this, you could do that. Or it also gives you the ability to kind of shrink it down this way. And let's take it down 60% and go to update. Probably still a little big. So let's go 60% of that. Yeah, that's a little more easier to follow. We do want it to stand out. You can also click on this here and kind of grab the edges. And, if we wanted to make it an even close to 200, you can do it that way too. Now, there's a little formatting stuff you have to mess with, so pull that up there. Now, the trick is, it looks this way on the screen, but then what does it look like in the real thing? So this is what a good thing to do right now would be to save as draft after it finishes loading here. Okay. I'm going to hit preview post. Now, I can't remember if that opens up. I'm going to open it up in a new tab so we can see what it looks like. So this is your blog post. Yeah, that's not too bad. That looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. The only thing that I need to do now is I can remember when we did the first one, we did our things underlined and bold. So I'm going to go down here to where it says for. Oh, yeah, that's right. We didn't. That was tabbed over, and it shouldn't have been. Okay, this one we want to bold and underline. Same thing here. Bold and underline. And then lastly here. Bold and underline. Now I've got my estate planning thing checked here. Let's save it one more time. Once we know it's saved, there it kind of refreshes. Open this up in a new tab. And anytime you've published this already, you can go ahead and make changes even once you're done. It looks good. I think we're ready to post this and publish this. Again, you can change the time here, but at this point, I'm just going to publish it. And once we're done, then your blog has now changed. And that's the extent of it. go back to your blog here and test it out and see. But once you see it, you're in good shape. So we'll close out and call that the end of the tutorial. Thanks.